All right, we're live downtown Oakland. What hotel is this?
Courtyard Marriott. Marcus still isn't sure where we are.
Why are we not at the Marriott?
This is the athletic spot for recording podcast.
I'm with that.
It's our first time here, but it's not bad at all. We appreciate the hospitality.
Yeah, no problem at all. So Warriors Plus Minus is back. Marcus Thompson here with my boss, Tim Kawakami of the Athletic Bay Area. The Warriors are actually about to play.
Yeah, this recording is going to be a little bit untimely, but that's all right. That's all right.
But
in Orlando,
I was in LA.
Yes, you were.
My first road game of the year, by the way, and I know you will appreciate this. I completely forgot how much of a show a Lakers game is. I mean, I don't think I've been there since 2013. Man, it was a show.
Well, because now the Warriors are a show, and it's in LA, and the Lakers are a show. Britney
Spears courtside, Diddy courtside,
Denzel.
I didn't see. I wasn't on that side. Denzel's usually there, right? Here's the funny part, though. Diddy walks in, and it's like, oh, there's all this hoopla. It's Diddy, and it's funny because when he comes in, Rich Kleiman stands up.
Durant's guy.
Yes. Yeah, so me and Slater standing there, and Diddy goes and he says hi to all the people, and then he goes straight to Rich Kleiman, and spends like 5 minutes chatting with him, and it was funny. Like Kleiman stood up, like, yeah, I know he's coming over here to me. Wow. It's like, man, these dudes are big shots, huh?
Well, Rich is in the he was in the music.
He was. And he was with Rock Nation, right?
Yep. But he's big time.
He's big.
I'm sure he's glad that you noticed too. He's glad that you noticed that.
Me and Anthony Slater sitting there watching, like, oh, he's just gonna stand up and wait for Diddy. Diddy walk right to him. I was like, wow, walk past Britney.
Oh, wow.
But it was such. I completely forgot about that, and every time I do that, it makes me think. I bet it was probably crazier in the Forum days.
Yes,
right? I bet it was more insane.
Well, I mean, listen. I mean, it's all relative, and Staples is glitzier. Staples is kind of more, I guess we'd say corporate.
Yes, definitely.
So you see all the talent agencies and all that. But Forum was magic. I mean, I wasn't there for that, but that was just the height of everything. This is like an echo of it. It's huge, but you get Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack was there.
And on and on and on. I just got used to it when I covered the Lakers. I covered 1 year at the Forum and 1 year at Staples. Is that what I can't remember now. But when there's something going on, that place it's different. It's a different spot. It's a different feel. It's not a great crowd environment like noise. But for the show,
it's a distraction, actually.
Yep.
Like you're watching the people.
Yep.
And then it's the people who aren't celebrities, but they want you to think they are.
They look
right?
could that be?
Like who's that? Maybe. Yeah. Well, they're dressed in such a fashion. You're like, is that who is that? And you're like, that's nobody, right?
The one that got me when I was coming to Lakers was Salma Hayek. Used to be there all the time.
I bet that was incredible.
Oh my God!
Yeah. I am not. Really you don't get to just focus on Salma Hayek.
The game. She's 22 feet from me. It's going to be hard to watch.
TK was like Jeff Van Gundy when Rihanna came in.
I heard about that. He's like, on air.
He's ready to just give it all away. That's funny, Salma Hayek. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So actually, and I talked to LeVar Ball, who's actually far more sane than he comes across on TV. Right?
He's a show, That's what he is.
He definitely had some much more respect for Steph than he did when he's like, oh, my son, Publicly, he's like, my son is better. Privately, he's like, oh, yeah, he's a good dude, good player. Mm-hmm. Just interested, the theatrics that happened in L.A.
Yes.
But
although it does, when you bring that up, so that it does inform why the Lakers paid Kobe those 2 extra years.
Yes.
It's why they're so desperate to get star. They just are a star-based entity.
Yeah, you just can't not do it. You can't not have stars.
You couldn't be the Spurs there. The Spurs there, and they won. I guess they'd like them. It wouldn't be the same. It's all about mega stars, and that's why they got Lonzo Ball, and it's why they're setting up to try to get LeBron James. We shall see about that. But that's the community there. That's what it's about. Much more than it's about just grind out wins. That's not what that's
about. It's how you win, right? The funny part was, like, the crowd was ready, the celebrities were there, Lonzo was ready, right? Brandon Ingram was ready. Everybody was ready but the Warriors. And the oddest part, like, they come back, they rally, Steph finally starts playing well, they start D'ing up in overtime, and they win the game. And Steve was probably more frankly upset, irritated than we've heard him all year. I think he's getting to the point where he's kind of like the fans, like, all right, when y'all gonna start playing for real?
Yeah, I'm a little surprised because I was like kind of knocking down fans like I tend to do that night. So this is settled. They're not as good. Listen, they're as good, talent-wise, scheme-wise, whatever. They're not playing hard. Draymond says that. Steve really said that. Why do you think Kerr is saying it now? I mean, why that game? Why that moment? They're on the road. They're in L.A. They've lost games to L.A. before.
Oh, yeah.
They got destroyed by the Lakers last year down there. Why now? That's what I'm asking you. You know this team. You know that guy.
I think a lot of it has to do with Steph Curry. I think he's talking to Steph a lot and Draymond, but he's just like, I don't want to see you sleepwalking anymore. And you know what? Here's I was thinking about this when he went through this, because he keeps saying, I understand this. We went through this same thing. They were 8-7. They had a maniac, right? They had Michael Jordan, who's like we're not about to slack off like this forever. And at some point, Jordan could just say, all right, here's how we're going to play. But if it's Steph playing that way, like, that's the guy who's supposed to be the one riding the ship. So for me, I feel like he's always been a little bit extra frustrated when it comes to Steph. And I think there's some Jordan Bell in that. We're going to talk about that. But I think he sees Steph's like, all right, I need you to right the ship. But if you're the one not playing hard, making the careless turnovers, it's kind of hard to set this tone. And I think he got – when's the last time Steph didn't play a whole third quarter?
Yep.
Those two turnovers, he got yanked.
I thought it was because he was only dribbling with his left hand. But Steve said he didn't notice that. So,
he's like, I watched the film, and he was.
By the way, he's not left-handed, and yet he was dribbling the ball left-handed. It just shows you how much you get into the game. Sometimes little details aren't there, but Steph wasn't playing good. Steph was just throwing. I mean, the problem was he was dribbling where he thought he should go, but he didn't have his right hand to get him out of it. And that's a big deal. And I said that on Twitter. I was like, I don't think he should be playing right now if you're only going to dribble with your left hand against a team that's jumping you. So there's some weird energy around, but it's part of the big show. I think your Jordan thing is a very good parallel. They don't have Jordan. They got Draymond, but it's not Jordan.
It's got to be the best
lead
player,
dog. It's got to be the lead dog. Kevin, that's not Durant's role. He's new to the team. He's not that kind of personality anyway. It's Draymond and Steph. And if Steph's not coming along, or he's still a little bit in a different place, I mean, again, I wouldn't. If I was them, I wouldn't be terribly worried about it. But I think Steve's getting a little worried about it.
He is. He's clearly right. He's still. Man, after he's like, it's galling, right? He's just like, I don't even know what to tell you guys. After
he's trying to be Jordan. He's trying to be
trying to be Jordan. But it's really a little weird to me because those were the games. Like they would, mess around for whatever, Sacramento. You go to LA with Lonzo Ball and all that hype. Those were the games where they used to say, all right, this is the one time we're going to show it.
Yep.
And they just totally sleepwalked.
After losing to the Kings.
Right?
Without Steph and KD.
But it was you think a night off in LA was still a thing?
It's always something, right? Or even the days they're doing the Bill Simmons podcast, they're doing TV shows. There's always something in distraction. They've always got shoe deals. They've always got sponsorships.
Meetings and family.
In LA and New York. Those are the two spots.
Oh, Tim, you should have seen the back, like after the game. With the family and the friend, it was insane.
Yep. Well, the agents are all there.
Yep.
And the friends of the agents and the friends who end up in LA anyway. That's been a secret weapon of the Lakers for years. Is they're used to it. They're in the middle of it. That's what they do. Teams come there and you've got, oh my God, there's stars here, and wait a minute, there's a great party going on over there, and wait a minute, I could get out to the beach. And people joke, and I joke about the night before, but sometimes it's a day. It's a day of because then you're just doing. You're going off over here. You're trying to skip out on a little bit on a shoot around because you want to get somewhere else. You want to get to the Palm. You want to do whatever. It is a secret weapon that certain teams have. Miami's one of them.
I was going to say that. They got another one of those games coming up.
Absolutely.
The scheduler, whoever scheduled this, is shady. They fly across the country on Thursday. play Friday,
in Orlando.
Day off Saturday in Miami.
Yeah,
it's always been back to back.
Yes.
It's supposed to be Orlando on Saturday after the cross country flight. You get an extra day, and then you go Saturday and then Miami Sunday. Yep. They gave them a day off in Miami.
It's a sketcher saying, you know what, you're complaining about these back-to-back?
Yeah, right. We got some.
Okay,
we're gonna give you
it's even worse.
We're gonna give you a day off in LA and in Miami.
We're gonna make it even worse. It's gonna be worse than 4 and 5 nights.
That's why they had to in that game. They could have lost 3 out of 4.
Yes,
just because of the schedule.
Because Miami's coming up. Hey, and Miami during the day. Just think about what you can do on Miami during the day. These are all secret little things. Houston's in there too. That's what people don't understand. Houston is in there too. You play through it. You see what you are. They've done it before. They've had these games before. Again, though, I'll say I cannot remember last time the Warriors had an off day in Miami. I can't.
It's always back to back, right? Orlando, Miami, back to back. Here's the what do they do about this? Like at some point, right? It's going to happen. We presume. We don't know when, but if Steve is wanting it to happen now and it's not happening now, what can they do to get it going? Is it just a matter of Steph and Draymond? You bring it, everybody else will follow. Is it rotational?
I think it's that mostly, but I think what really always does it is lose 2 out of 3, lose 4 out of 7. You know, the Durant thing caused and the tough schedule last year. So, we got ambient noise here. And then they go, whoa, wait a minute. Now, that was because of the schedules, because Durant was, but it really shook them up at the right time.
Yes.
And guess who took over in those moments? Steph Curry. And he might not do it if they're happen to be 27 and 10. But if they're 27 and 15, then it might be, okay, let's just go do it. Now, Steph isn't the rah-rah guy. He isn't the you-got-to-do-it guy. That's more Draymond. It's more them together. But I think practically it's going to take maybe somebody gets hurt and the others have to rally around them. Maybe Steph's hurt right now.
That was going to be
he's right
talk
now.
About that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here. We might as well. Are you worried about that?
I would say that's an issue for them. I mean, but they're saying I guess they're saying he can't get it hurt worse. Although you would think he could. All you have to do is fall on it and it gets worse.
I don't ever believe that when they say that.
Yeah,
like, hey, you can't get it any worse.
Of course, you heard it, so you could hurt it.
How'd you hurt it then, right?
Yeah. I think on a shooter with his touch, when it's all about touch, when his dribbling and his occasional looseness of dribbling and passing, I think, it obviously affected him. No, wait a minute. You went up to him and you told him he had 3 air balls. Is that what happened, by the way?
So I'm talking to Steph, and I'm like, first thing I do is go in there. I was like, let me see this hand, because I hadn't seen it. I was like, let me see it. He was like, you can't see it? And then I looked, and his ring finger, like the middle, the big knuckle, it's like fat, right? It's like a sausage. And so I was like, I'm looking for like discoloring, because they called it a contusion. So I was like, oh, let me see. Maybe he's got like a big bruise on his hand or something. But it's really a fat, it's like really fat. And he was saying it hurts when you touch it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Steph, he's ripped off many ankle braces. I was like, why you just didn't take it off? He was like, oh, man, I wanted to, but I can't play without the wrap. Yeah. But he couldn't feel the ball all the way. He thought if I got my 2 fingers, my index and my middle finger, I'm good. Mm-hmm. But out there, he's like, no, it wasn't good. So we had to kind of get used to it. Yep. So I'm asking him all these questions, and he's like, looking at me like, why am I asking him so many questions? He's like, I've had bad shooting nights before. What's the problem? I'm like, dude, I've never seen you airball 3 times. Mm-hmm. He's like, I airballed 3 times. I'm like, yes, yes, you airballed 3 times. Like, and not like pressure. Somebody's in your face, you got to throw it up. Like, feet set. This is your shot, and you missed it like by a mile. And he's like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't even know I airballed 3 times. Like, yeah, we don't see you airball 3 times.
And you could say, and you're dribbling with your left hand. You're dribbling with your left hand, only your left hand. That to me was the biggest thing, because when he was getting in trouble, it was okay. He could spin out with his right, and he couldn't do it. He was just going in there. They're attacking him, and he couldn't do anything. So that part of it, I think, is going to be interesting.
What if he's the guy who has to sit out?
Yeah. Then
what
they
if
might,
he got 4 to 6
exactly,
weeks?
And then they might. Well, 4 to 6 would be a big deal. But like, say it's 10.
What was Durant last time?
Durant was like 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah. So what if it's Steph got to sit out 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. Like say 10 to 12 games, 14 games. They're going to lose some games. No question about that. Someone else has to play a lot more minutes than normal. I don't know who that. I don't know who that. They really don't have that guy. They've never really had that. Livingston is the obvious choice, but he helps them in so many other.
But if you get him for 31 game,
then you might not have him at the end of the season.
Like, is Iguodala even playing tomorrow? He played 35.
Well, he's not playing tonight. He's not playing tonight. So
he's got.
Yeah, they're a little.
Those are the two guys you go to
when you're. We talk about their new depth. We talk about Caspi and Nick Young and whatever, but they've always been light at that point guard because they use Iguodala there, or they use Draymond there, or they use Livingston there, but they don't really have a backup point guard.
No.
And Steph does so much for it, and he's a point guard who sets everything they do offensively. So that'll be interesting, but that might be it. I don't think it. I think they're going to play through this, but if again today is a struggle, and then the next one's a struggle, maybe you shut it down, and then we see. And it'd be very interesting, that dynamic. And maybe that's the one where they go 5-5. And they feel that sense of feel that sense of urgency. Oh, no one believes us anymore. You all think Houston's the best team in the West. We'll show you. That has not come close to triggering in their head. They're not close to that.
It's not even a thought.
No.
Which is so anti the Warriors that we know, right? Yep. This is what they do. The moment you doubt them, we've talked about this on Warriors Plus Mind. If you doubt them, they will come out and prove it to you.
That's the one.
Now, but is anybody doubting them, I guess?
You and I are circling games that they're going to lose, and then they lose them. It's ridiculous. Now, I think part of this has just been the psychology of what Kerr said. Like, we know it's going to be tough. We know this is going to be a slog. You played 3 straight long postseasons. Okay, we're not going to put the heat on you every single game. Well, then if you say that, and they're not going to put they're going to feel that.
Now they own that, right? That's a part of how they even think about it. So
you can't also say, oh, by the way, now you have to play hard. I said it was going to be tough. Now you have that's the conversation they're having. Maybe it's just through their play and not actual words, but I would imagine it's actual words too. I just don't know if it's not number 30. Then they're going to have some interesting moments, and they had some interesting moments. But they're 16-6, by the way, Marcus. They're 16-6. So it's not like they're
the Bulls were 8-7, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, LeBron's gone through this when they've
LeBron sat out 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've been 13-11.
Yeah.
So that's maybe the problem is they're winning. They got to lose some of these games.
Yeah. If they lost this Kings game, they could have lost the Lakers.
Yep.
Orlando won't be the easiest game if they're not playing well. They could lose that one too.
If Steph's shooting left-handed,
they're not playing well. They could lose that too. And then you got the Miami schedule game that could have been 3 out of 4, which probably what
they got Detroit on this.
They got Detroit at the end of it too.
Could be an L. No matter what happens, I don't think they're in trouble. I just think we're waiting for when that moment of urgency hits them.
Once it hits, none of this will matter. Yep. Once it hits, they'll run off a win streak, and we'll say, yeah, we knew what that was already. But in the midst of it, it just feels it's just different. It feels different. And part of the reason I thought Steve was going to get away or going like his plan for saying we're going to chill with these guys is to use some of the players on the bench. But I don't think he's figured that part out yet. And it's so in and out that they don't have a rhythm. And it makes you wonder, why not just play Jordan Bell? Why not just play him?
And if he screws up 3 times, he screws
it's
up.
It's all right, yeah. It's not like the starters aren't, right?
But he screws up in ways that piss off Steve.
That's what it is. Yeah. There's just certain things you can do. Yeah. Like, if you take bad shots, Steve, it doesn't kill him. Yeah. Being out of rotation kills him, which is why he likes Looney, because Looney's usually in the right place.
Exactly. And, Bell will jump a rotation, and you're not supposed to do that.
Absolutely, Or he'll swing wildly for a block, take himself out of position. Absolutely. He did that 3 times.
Or he'll try to make some pass that Steve doesn't like when Steph does it. When Jordan Bell does, he's out of the game. And so, that's Steve coaching. You understand that, but I think he's going to have to, and I think he's already made a decision. He's going to have to live through some of these. He's going to have to play him 8 minutes a game minimum, and then if he plays well, it's 14 minutes. JaVale's did not play the last game. Those are the minutes that Jordan Bell's getting.
JaVale's hurting because Steph and Draymond aren't playing well, right? Yep. If his success was based on them playing well and him just sitting there eating off the table, right? But if they're not playing well,
he doesn't have another game. Yeah, he doesn't have something else to do.
If teams are saying, "Hey, Draymond, we're not covering you on that shot. You just got to make it," that just takes away the lob.
Yep.
So he just got to he got to hit that shot. Otherwise, they're not gonna. The 2-man game is gone. They're like, back up, take away the lob, Draymond. Let me see you make that.
Well, we've seen like how many the other game. I think it was the Kings game. Like, get it to JaVale, and he's working on the block and takes jump shots. He's like,
turn around.
Yeah, it's like, that's not where this is. If he does that, then Jordan Bell should be in the game, because Bell at least runs the floor. He is a much better defensive player, much better at the switches. They might as well just play him and accept that he's going to make mistakes, because he does other stuff. As Draymond says, things happen. He can do things. Not all of them good. Yeah. But he can do things. Yeah, run into things, and they kind of need that. And,
I think that's what they need. Yeah.
They haven't had that for a couple of years now. Just somebody who runs into things, and they get beat by those guys. And so just match energy for energy, length for length. Go knock around the ball. Go dive on the floor.
Get a crazy dunk.
Absolutely. And I think, when people keep asking me, okay, if Jordan Bell's going to play, whose minutes are you going to take? Is going to be JaVale McGee.
No question.
It's already begun.
Yeah, when George's going to play, JaVale's not, right? That's what Steve is saying. I'm going to play Jordan. Yeah. But I do think there's a part of Steve who's like, all right, we really got a good one here. Yeah. I'm not going to let him develop bad habits. I'm not going to let this get to his head. Like, this guy's going to be a pillar. So he's probably a little extra hard on him. Like,
no question.
But they kind of need him, because remember last year we talked about how JaVale, and, there was this debate about whether JaVale was really good or not. And the point was, the other players want JaVale on the court with him. Yep. I think Jordan is getting that. Yep. Like, man, I'm a lot better when this dude is chasing down blocks from behind, right? Or this dude is catching the lob, or he's getting the rebound and pushing it. I think they might start liking, like, hey, let's get Jordan in the game.
Yep, I agree. Now that's costing JaVale minutes, and they love JaVale. But
if he's not catching lobs,
exactly.
Has he caught a lob this year?
I have not in the half court. I can't remember if he has.
I can't remember one.
If it was very early in the season. Certainly hasn't in the last 15 games. Jordan Bell can do stuff, and he could take 2 dribbles and flush it, which JaVale can't do. And so when it gets to the point now when there's something crazy athletic happens on the court, and a Warrior does it, I know it's him, because there's nobody else who's just got that kind of athleticism, and they. Again, he's going to screw up bad when he plays some game. He's just going to do something really stupid, and Kerr's going to
he's got to swallow it.
Yeah, Kerr's going to have to live with it, coach him through
break a clipboard,
or he's going to have to rethink this. But that's the guy to put in there. And again, I think you do want to see what McCaw can do.
Is it? I was going to say, is it the same for McCaw? Do you just
it's totally the opposite, right? Totally opposite. He doesn't do stuff. He doesn't do enough stuff. He just passes the ball. He turns down shots. And that's the problem, is when you've got him turning down shots, you got Andre turning down shots, you got Draymond turning down shots. That's bad for
Zaza turning down shots.
No, Zaza's turning down shots. Then that's bad for Steve's system, because it's not just isolate Durant. It's move the ball around and you take the available shot. If Pat just would take 2 shots.
Take the shots.
Take 2 shots a shift, I think Steve would feel a lot more comfortable playing them. He wouldn't be worried that the offense would come down to just a standstill, and Patrick would start making some of them. If you don't take them, then the one you take is not going in.
It's everything, too. It becomes – and, but he's the kind of bouncy, wiry, covers a lot of space, just energy guy.
Switch defense. Yeah, again, he's a guy that you could really see could help this team. Steve wants to play him on that second unit, but if he's not going to shoot the ball and that second unit isn't scoring – it doesn't matter how good.
Because Nick Young is really slow.
He's slow, and right? He's a stationary player. But at least the defense has to guard him. At least there's space.
They have to put a hand up on him.
And for all the talk about defense, and we know defense has been the core of this team. They still, if you can't have guys, you can't have multiple guys on the floor turning down shots.
Like you can't have 2 guys.
Yep, and they have 3 sometimes.
Yes, they will.
And they're
especially if Andre's not taking the shot.
He's not taking shots.
He went out of his way to pass up 2 shots.
He's not
in the same sequence.
Andre is a great player, and I've always written that he is for them. But he is so flinching away from free throws. It's unbelievable. He just does not want to get fouled going to the hoop. He passes. He never takes layups. Contested layups. He's always passing that, and defenses know that now. So they're playing him for the pass on the drive, and that's leading to some turnovers that go the other way. I know he'd been historic on a low the assist to turnover ratio, but I think I haven't even looked, but I'm sure his turnovers are up this year, just because he's not.
But his dunks are up.
His dunks are up. Like he's getting these wide open dunks, not necessarily contested dunks, but he's got to shoot the ball. I mean, again, he might end up shooting 37%. But he's going to have to shoot the ball.
But the problem is, if he doesn't make that first one, he's done.
You're turning him down.
Yep. His first one against the Lakers, he airballed that thing so bad. He's like, yeah, I'm done shooting. Yep. Forcing it to Looney.
They get it in the playoffs. I was like, hey.
But he always seems to show up, right? It's always like, I don't know about Andre. And then, okay, here's a 20-point game.
Well, he did last year when Durant went out. And so, again, it might be one of those where someone just, okay, you got to do it now. And someone doesn't. We'll see if it's him. I mean, Draymond's offense has not been good. We talked about the Hamptons 5, and we know the numbers have been bad.
They got run. Anthony Slater's doing a great job of chronicling this. They are. What is up?
Well, my thing, again, Kerr doesn't like this.
Since you created the Hamptons 5.
Yeah, I did create it. Kerr doesn't like when I say the problem. I think the main one is that Draymond and Andre are not shooting. And the whole thing's built on mismatches. You got the big guys rotating. You get them all screwed up. And then there's a wide open three for somebody. And often it's Draymond or Andre. And we go back to the Cleveland Finals the first time. It was Andre just destroying whoever was guarding him.
Mozgov, right?
And running Mozgov off the court. Well, if he's not shooting the ball, and he has to be guarded, and Draymond doesn't really have to be guarded, well then that's a whole different thing. And defensively, they're not playing as hard, that whole group.
No question.
And then there's your problem. Now, again, it's small sample size. I don't think there's going to be an issue down the road, but I think Draymond and Andre together, not shooting the ball is a problem. No, Draymond will shoot the ball, and he won't always make it. But if they're not making a couple baskets on these runs, then that doesn't fuel, they can't set their defense. And if they're not setting their defense, they're not getting the fast breaks going the other way. It just kind of builds on each other.
Yeah, it doesn't pick up the pace like it used to.
And I believe it's largely because of those two guys. It's supposed to scatter the defense. It's supposed to put incredible pressure on the defense.
Speed the game up.
And that's not. Yeah. And I think it's put those two guys offensively under the microscope, and I think you'd find here's the reason right there.
I wonder, number one reason. Will they go 3-3 on this road trip? The 6-game road trip is the longest. Could they go 3-3? And if so, does that do it?
By the way, I understand your point, and I've heard this out there, like people going, "Oh my God, they can go 3-3." 3-3 on a road trip is like pretty good.
No, I know, right? But that's 3-3 for the Warriors is like.
That's what you try to go. You try to go 3-3. When people go on 6-game road trips, all the way they go, let's try to get 3-3. Maybe 4-2 would be great. But that tells you the level they're at. That 3-3 would be, oh my God, what are 3-3?
Disaster is panic time.
They could go 3-3, absolutely, and it'll depend on
how it is. Is that enough, though? Right? Yeah.
They get knocked around in Detroit. Let's say, because the Miami one, I think
Milwaukee will be a thing too, right?
Milwaukee might just choke them. If it ends with some bad games, I think you'll see maybe a recalibration. I think Steve will want one anyway, and maybe the rest of the players would feel it too. But even then, maybe not, because they'd be what? They'd be 18-7 or whatever, 18-9, whatever it's going to be. I don't think they're going to be that desperate at 18-9.
I get part of it too is where are the Rockets in this, and do they want the 1 seed? Houston's 17-4, I think.
Yep.
And they're rolling. Yeah. I do think though they're looking like, let them be the team that's rolling now.
Yeah, and that's
right?
one team that doesn't worry them. Even though they got beat by them game 1. That's not.
Let that be you. If you want to roll now, go ahead.
Like if it's the Spurs, they're like, well, we don't necessarily want Game 7 in San Antonio. With Houston, they go, we'll win 2 there, we'll win 2 at home. It's all over.
Yeah, we got that.
Yeah. So again, a non-motivation for them. Now, Cleveland starts perking up, maybe a little different. Do they want Game 7 in Cleveland? Or do they want Game 7 in Oakland?
Definitely in Oakland.
That's one that might get them, but man, that's down the road too. So, and we know Cleveland's due for a January lull, like they've done with LeBron last few years. I don't know. I don't know when the urgent moment is. It's interesting that Steve is searching for it.
He's searching a little early though, right?
I agree. Maybe he feels that this trip could be the moment. I don't, or he wants it to be the moment. I still think it's early. I still think anytime you're before Christmas with these guys, if you've got a decent record, you got plenty of time. I mean, we know them. They could go 25-1 in a drop of a hat. Maybe he feels there's.
I don't think he likes watching them. I think he's like a lot of fans. Like I don't like watching you is frustrating me, and he doesn't want to be frustrated.
I guess so. And he's got some different personalities on this team. We talk to players that could change it up. It's Jordan Bell, Nick Young, Patrick McCaw. These are not, it's not the normal Warrior. The guys he has to kind of work into the flow. And maybe, JaVale isn't great right there, and they're just different pieces to this. But I think they knew that again. They knew that going in, and they're better than everybody else. And they just got to get to the point where they can be better than everyone else on a consistent basis, and they're not there yet.
And if they win the championship this year, what's next year like? They'd be
we're not even,
all that panicking y'all were doing? Like, we're going to take it off until the All-Star break.
Exactly. You know what?
It was Christmas. Now it's the All-Star break.
Steph is going to play left-handed until the All-Star break. Let's see what happens then, okay?
That's going to be crazy. Yeah, Steve's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah.
Do you think he needs, this is his, his escape from all the other stuff? He's doing a lot of talk show, a lot of radio appearances, a lot of interviews. He's really into how they play. I wonder if this is somehow connected. He's he's using this to be distracted from health issues.
Yeah, maybe. But I just think he's a natural guy, likes to have conversations.
Yeah, he's probably the most competitive guy on the team.
Yeah, he thinks through stuff, and he's thinking about this team a lot, and he's thinking he's not real happy with it. But, it's a matter of degree. It's a matter of calendar. But I will say, he starts talking about, if he starts talking about distraction, I would say then you went into the Bill Simmons podcast on Monday, by the way, in L.A. So, there's, or whatever day that was, he's in the mix too, which is fine. That's all fine.
Oh yeah, he's totally in the mix with the rotations. You can't say urgency and then run 5 guys who never played together.
Exactly.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
Yep.
But he's searching.
He's looking for guys he can count on. He wants the players to all play. There are all the things we know about Kerr. It'll all turn out fine, in my opinion. I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. They got the best team, but it is just a little bit. You've got the tired legs. You've got China. You've got different mix of secondary players. You've got some older players. It's a different kind of mix that I think that is just showing up where they're kind of counting on Steph and Draymond to carry them, and sometimes Steph and Draymond aren't carrying them.
I think they're just banking on we're just going to make a lot of shots.
Yeah, well, it's just been pretty good for them.
Yeah, right. We're just going to make a lot of shots.
35. By the way, 35 is totally their bailout. I mean, we saw this happen in the playoffs. But it's not now. Steph is like, okay, go.
Here you go.
He's
no question.
That's the way
he just carried them for the Lakers game, and it's all right.
Yep,
it's winning time, Steph. We got this.
And it was going to be him in the Oklahoma City game if he could. And he didn't, but that's it's not you can't win every game like that.
Hey, KD, just go make shots.
Yeah, it's just we just haven't seen that before. Even with 30, we haven't seen that. We're just go. It's been kind of work off the flow and then the shot.
That's what they did, right? When things were kind of mucky, all right, let's run it, let's execute it for real. Yep. Now it's like, all right, KD.
all right, I so good. That's fine. Let's go. I mean, he's really good at it. He's as good at it as anybody there is.
He's still got some areas to grow though, because he's settled. You could just tell. Me and Slater sit next to each other. We know when he's going to shoot the jumper.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you can already tell.
Got that stab dribble,
You know when he's going to shoot the jumper. You know when he's. If he just starts up top and everybody gets out the way, he's shooting the ball.
Yeah, he's not passing the ball.
And it's going to be a step back jumper. It's going to be one of those, I want that pretty jumper.
Yep.
And he doesn't mix that up.
No.
It was crazy. They went to that at a time in the game. They were like 2 straight, a little 3-man game with him, Draymond, and Steph. KD starting in the low block, scored like 9 straight points, went away from it. ISO, KD misses a 3, goes back to it, get another, start the dude on the block. Start him there. Yep. Let's stop setting them up for the wide open. Let me dribble, and hit the dagger. That's OKC ball.
Yes.
And that's what they. But hey, they don't have to do anything else.
Although I think they're supposed to get into motion when they do that. They just stop.
They don't. Man.
I think they're supposed to. But he's got the ball.
There's been a lot of forgotten plays, right?
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't it feel like a little bit more than normal? Steve is always complaining about we got to remember the play.
Yep. but they're forgetting. Yeah, I mean, it's been Steph, and it's been Durant, and it's been those guys, not Draymond.
Jordan Bell.
I don't know that Jordan Bell really runs plays. He just kind of runs around, but that's part of his appeal. It's part of the distraction. It's part of them knowing, run the play, run the play. If Durant ends up with the ball, that's going to be okay most times. But hey, they go through. I just think there is one serious thing. They got the aging players, but they don't have I've said this. You can guard them with small players on the post and big players on the perimeter, and that's kind of what Boston does. That's kind of we've seen this. Detroit will do it, and it'll be interesting to me how they kind of go through the rest of the season. If the perimeter guys are covered by length, and then the big guys are covered just because then go ahead, go post us up.
Yeah, there's nobody worried about.
He's going to turn over his shoulder, boom. It just doesn't happen. Draymond's the guy who ends up with the little guy because they always guard him with little guys on switches. He can't really hurt him down there. I mean, he's going to try to make the pass out of there. He's not going to really try to score.
That's the thing. He's going to try to make the pass, and they know it.
Yep.
And that part of his game, the mid-range, the game that he's been kind of working on, it's just he doesn't even do it anymore.
I know. I thought the second season they win 73. There was some of that. At least he was driving more.
And then last year he did it better too.
Yeah, and
he worked on touch. This year he don't even
nothing. Yeah.
There's no free throw line pull up, no floater.
That post at the end of the game in L.A. where he airball from 3 feet. I think it was being guarded by. Was he guarded by?
Was it? It was the guy Clarkson switched on him, right?
It was one of the guards.
Might have been Ball.
Yeah, and it was not good. He played a great final minutes, but that one wasn't good. You just think that he would have had that in his game now because it would just broaden out everything he can do.
It changes everything. Even if his three's not going, he's wide open.
Yep.
If he could take those steps
just look at the next game, how many times a guard is on him after a one switch. And teams don't mind it because it doesn't really hurt them. And in fact, if you guard him like a guard more than like a powerful big guy, it's actually better because he does more guard stuff.
No question.
Than he does the big guy stuff.
Leads the team in assists.
Yep.
So are you buying us lunch here at this?
Well, it's a little bit late than that.
Yeah,
so,
probably.
I would have if we needed to for the space.
I'm going to beast mode. See what's going on over there.
I think there is some activity. There's a lot of activity. Get them on the podcast.
All right. Warriors Plus Minus. We out. See you next week.
Bye.